Welcome back to Patriot List TV. My name is Colin Supko. I am the CEO and founder of Patriot List, and today we're going to have the distinct opportunity to speak with Mr. Scott Becker. Scott, I'm not going to ruin everything that you're about to say by saying anything other than Scott is a great American. He's an entrepreneur, a lieutenant commander, and an avid dog lover.
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Scott, let's start with a little bit about you. So, it's good, I think, for the audience to understand who are the members that make up our military? Where do they come from? What was it that draw them to service?
Okay. Well, I happened to be born in Montreal, Canada, and moved to Florida when I was 1, and went dual citizen, always have been. Moved to Florida when I was 1 and grew up in Florida, actually Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Went to school, University of Florida, and there I did university, the NROTC, Navy Reserve Officer Training Corps. Got commissioned in May 2002. Studied engineering there, industrial engineering. Got my bachelor's again in May 2002, and moved 5 times in a year and a half. Went to Panama City, Florida for dive school. I'm sure you know it was there. Charleston, South Carolina for nuclear power school in the submarine community. And then upstate New York in Saratoga Springs, which is where we practice our nuclear training for the submarine community. Finally went to Connecticut for my last school, and eventually in October 2003 got stationed in San Diego on my first and only submarine, Asheville. Following that 3-year tour with 1.5 deployments, went to become the foreign submarine liaison officer at the squadron, the submarine squadron. So
what did that entail?
I worked with the U.S., I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but employs or hires or pays or trains with foreign submarines, because many of our potential enemy submarines are diesel submarines.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. fleet does not currently operate any more diesel submarines. So we pay foreign countries, or we have a partnership or a deal worked out where they will mobilize or deploy to the U.S., both coasts, either Mayport, Florida area or San Diego. And I was their liaison, so I handled basically any issues they had, any complaints, any requests, etc. I worked with the Swedish submarine Gotland, and eventually the Chilean submarines and Peruvian submarines.
Very cool.
Following that, I decided I didn't want to leave San Diego or go back to sea. I left active duty and joined the reserve immediately afterwards. And I've been in the reserve for about 8 years. This is my 3rd command.
Awesome, awesome. So this is one thing that all members of the military that are active duty are going to face at some point in their career, and that is the transition phase. So how did you look at that transition from active duty to the civilian world, and what steps did you take to make sure that was went as smoothly as possible?
Well, when I decided that I was eventually going to leave active duty, I put my resumes out there, and I knew I wanted to stay in San Diego, so that limited my options, and got hired as a contractor with a local company that worked. I was responsible for working in Old Town at Spay War. Mm-hmm. I did that for about 6 months, and to be honest, I determined it just wasn't for me. It was a desk job. Some people prefer those. I definitely didn't. But before I left active duty, I started my own business where I own ATMs. Mm. And by the time I left active duty, and I had grown it to where it wasn't enough to make a good living on, but it was a great start, and I continued to do that. And even during my contractor work, I continued growing my ATM business, and it is where it is today, and I'm happy with where it is. I do well, but it's a lot of work. Thank God I love it, though.
So just so we're clear, while you were still in active duty, you had the entrepreneurial bug, and you went out and decided that you were going to create a business, by providing ATM machines. So you'd have to put the overhead in, buy the ATM machines, and then work through the cash with the banks to make sure those ATM machines were going to be filled all over the place.
That's right. You are correct in everything you said. I wanted to be my own boss, and with the exception of the current reserve work, I completely enjoy being my own boss. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, with whom I want, etc. That's the pros. The con is I work often, and I take calls late at night, etc. But I started with one machine with a retired Navy sailor. It did well, and I decided I enjoyed it. I kept doing it, and grew the business from there, and I'm still growing it.
Yeah, it's the plight of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'd rather work 20 hours if I'm working for myself than 8 hours if I'm working for somebody else.
I agree. And I don't necessarily hate working for other people. I just like to have my own schedule, my freedom.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Patriot List TV. Stay tuned next time when we bring you another active duty member or veteran that's going to share with you the great things they're doing for our military and veteran community. Go to PatriotList.US or the Apple App Store or the Google App Store and download the Patriot List app for free.